أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقلنا يا آدم اسكن أنت وزوجك الجنة وكلا منها رغدا حيث شئتما ولا تقربا هذه الشجرة فتكونا من الظالمين. فأزلهما الشيطان عنها فأخرجهما مما كانا فيه وقلنا اهبطوا بعضكم لبعض عدو ولكم في الأرض مستقر ومتاع إلى حين. Surah Baqarah verse 35 and verse 36, the translation is, and we said, O Adam alayhi salam, dwell you and your wife in paradise and eat at pleasure wherever you like, but do not go near this tree, otherwise you will be counted among the transgressors. Then Satan caused them to slip from it and brought them out of where they had been. And we said, go down, all of you, some of you the enemies of others, and on the earth there will be for you a dwelling place and enjoyment for a time. The context of these two verses is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala proved to the angels that Prophet Adam alayhi salam was capable of becoming the Khalifa on earth, and he had all the knowledge for it. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to put him in paradise, and it is in some relations that when Adam alayhi salam felt lonely in paradise, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Hawwa alayhi salam, his wife, from one of his ribs, so that he could not feel lonely in paradise. And maybe this event of the prostration of the angels that occurred outside of paradise, and maybe it occurred inside the paradise, wallahu alam bis-sawab. In any case, the Satan or Shaitan had become an infidel because he refused to prostrate, and he thought that Allah's order was illogical, aliyazu billah. So he became an infidel, he became a kafir, and he was always thinking about how to convince human beings to disobey Allah. So he was on the lookout, and when Adam alayhi salam entered paradise with his wife, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them that you can do anything you want or eat anything you want, but you should not eat the fruit of this particular tree. So Satan or Shaitan, he entered paradise, or maybe he just whispered in their hearts and convinced them to eat the fruit of that tree, and consequently Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them, Adam alayhi salam and Hawwa, to leave paradise and go down to earth, and this order was also for the Satan. And then Allah informed that the children of Adam and Eve, or Hawwa alayhi salam, they will be enemies of each other as well, and that is because the devil is also going to be there in this life, and he is going to cause human beings to transgress. So Allah says, وَقُلْنَا يَا آدَمُ اسْكُنْ أَنْتَ وَزَوْجُكَ الْجَنَّةِ, that we said, O Adam alayhi salam, dwell you and your wife in Jannah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the order of dwelling only to Adam alayhi salam, and then وَزَوْجُكَ comes after that. So the meaning of this is that in this world, it is the responsibility of the husband to provide a residence for his wife. So the husband is supposed to provide a residence for his wife. So that's the interpretation that we take from this verse. And then Allah said, Wakula, and you both of you eat minha, from paradise, ragada. Ragada means a sustenance or food that can be acquired without any effort, and which is easily available in many places. So that's what is happening in paradise, because paradise is full of fruits and many types of things to eat, and there are so many of them. They're everywhere. So that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told them ragada, and then haythu shaytuma, that you can eat whatever you want. It's in abundant quantity and it is everywhere, so you can roam around and you can eat from wherever you want, so there is no restriction. And then this order is given both to Hazrat Adam alayhi salam and Hazrat Hawwa alayhi salam, and so that means that the woman is not or the wife is not dependent on her husband for food. That means that the husband cannot dictate that you're supposed to eat this, you're supposed to eat this, you're not supposed to eat that. So the husband cannot dictate. The woman is completely independent of selecting her food and other means of sustenance as well. But for the residence, it's up to the husband, because providing the residence is comes from the resources of the husband. So the husband is going to provide a residence which he can afford. So the woman has to live with her husband, but in other things she is independent, especially food. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested Adam alayhi salam and Hawwa alayhi salam by telling them, wala taqraba hadhihi shajara, do not approach this tree. And the meaning was that do not eat the fruit of this tree. Some say it was a tree of wheat, or others say it was a tree of grapes. But we don't need to investigate too much on that. We just need to understand that this order was given, and by refraining them from approaching the tree, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually was preventing them from eating the fruit. So if you approach the tree, then you will eat the fruit. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted them to stop beforehand and not even approach the tree, so that they can refrain themselves from eating the fruit of that tree. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, fatakuna min al-zalimin, otherwise both of you will become amongst the transgressors. And transgression actually means that you put something out of its place, so that is transgression. So when you do something which you are not supposed to do, for example we sin, so we are not supposed to do that, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not created us for sin, has created us for doing good deeds. So that's why we are transgressors. So whenever we disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in any way, then we are transgressors. And then Allah says, فَأَزَلَّهُمَ الشَّيْطَانُ anha, that the devil caused them to slip from heaven. So it was a slip actually, and we cannot say that Adam alayhi salam and Hawwa alayhi salam they sinned, because the prophet, every prophet is absolutely free from sin. The prophets cannot sin, they are saved from sin. So if we say that Adam alayhi salam did this sin, aliyazu billah, then that thing is absolutely not true. Definitely that's not the case. It was a mistake. It was a decisional mistake that was brought on through the whisperings of the Satan, and he also lied about it. So we'll detail that in the next audio. So he also lied about it, and it was a slip, or we can say an error of judgment. But it was not a sin as the Muslims these days we sin by speaking lies, or disrespecting our parents, or not saying our prayers. So it was not a sin of that type. It was an error of judgment brought on by the whisperings of the Satan, and his cleverness. So Allah says, فَأَخْرَجَهُمَا, so he caused them to leave مِمَّا كَانَ فِيهِ, the place in which they were, for that is the paradise. So here it's being specified that they did not leave paradise because Allah forced them to leave. They left paradise because they followed the Satan, they did this error, and that is the reason that they left paradise. So it is not Allah's fault that they left paradise. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to clarify that. And then Allah says, وَقُلْنَا, we told them, both of them, إِهْبِطُوا, descend all of you. That means descend Adam alayhi salam, descend Hazrat Hawwa alayhi salam, and descend the Satan, because in those at that time the Satan was in the skies all the time, or maybe most of the time, or maybe some of the time. So he was able to access the skies, but now he was asked to descend from the skies. And then obviously when the Satan is there in this world, he is going to cause the human beings to sin. So he will force the human beings to sin. He will whisper in their hearts. He will try his level best that human beings disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why Allah ta'ala says, ba'adukum li ba'adin adu, that O Adam alayhi salam and O Hawwa alayhi salam, from your children there will be people who will be enemies of each other, and that is because the devil is descending with you. So he's going to try his level best to cause you to sin, and there will be enemies. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew beforehand that he is going to be successful. And then Allah says, walakum fil ardi mustaqarrun, that we are sending you down, so your kids and the whole generations, they will be on this planet. I'm going to give them a mustaqarrun, I'm going to give them a place of residence, and I'm going to give them sustenance, and bamataun, I'm going to give them some things to live in this world, some things for enjoyment as well, ilahin, until a destined time. And one point we need to understand from the word Ragada means something which is freely available, and that is what is happening on this planet as well. So you can see that the fruits and the vegetables and the livestock, they're the three main sources of food for us, and the crops that we cultivate, the harvest that we have everywhere in the world, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the agriculture in place to give us food. So that's the example of Ragada. And one can imagine that if this is the case on planet Earth, what kind of Ragada we will have in paradise.